Hey everybody, welcome to Will and Drew's Gaming Retrospective. You're listening to episode 104, and it's the week of, what is it? November 29th, 2020.
Yes. Feels like December already.
I mean, it practically is. Today is the 30th. Tomorrow we are in December. And Will, man, how the hell are you?
Dude, I'm pretty well, man. Considering the state of the world, and I've said that a lot, I'm well. Work is good. I've got a Reed's all-natural extra ginger beer.
Very nice.
I happen to love these. I treat myself to them every once in a while. And yeah, if you like ginger, give it a go.
I have a cup of coffee in a nondescript navy blue mug. Once upon a time, this actually had the logo.
Dad mug.
Well, it had the logo for my college on it, but a couple washes in the dishwasher took care of that. So, but I am drinking a Keurig Javalia brand coffee with a little splash of milk in there, 2%.
Fancy. I don't know if that's fancy or not. It sounds kind of fancy.
Well, I'll drink it with my pinky out, and then we can judge.
I suppose a navy blue mug could be considered classy or tasteful at a minimum.
I mean, sure, we'll go with that.
Simple color.
Yeah, we'll go with that. That's fine. It's perfect.
I think we're dissecting this a little too much.
Oh my God. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Check us out on the web at www.WDGRPodcast.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at WDGRPodcast. Will, your SoundCloud, how can they find you?
Yeah. Yes, certainly. Will_gear after SoundCloud.com. I did that backwards, but yeah, SoundCloud.com/Will_gear is where you can find me.
That's perfect, man. And you just uploaded something yesterday, 2 days ago?
Yeah, I think it was Saturday or Sunday. I can't remember. I think it was Saturday night. I was telling you I almost had a meltdown.
Yeah.
with my Magic Trackpad. But yeah, what came of it I thought was a pretty good track. So
cool.
If you happen to check it out, please do. It's a cover, actually, of one of my favorite composers, Thomas Bergerson, Norwegian composer who does a lot of trailer music.
Okay.
And I happen to love his work, and I tried to take a stab at one of his themes, and I feel like it came out all right. So, we'll see.
What movies has he done?
So he's done a lot of stuff for like Interstellar, like the trailer number 3. He did the music for that. What else has he done? Just a ton of like big box trailers. Like I think he did something for Inception, I want to say. Metal Gear Rising, he did a couple trailers for. And then just his own body of work that just happens to get scooped up for trailer use. So nice. He likes to be very specific and say my music is not trailer music, but it just happens to fit that bill. So
gotcha. That's pretty cool, man. I don't think I've like consciously heard of him before.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. Well, have you ever heard of Two Steps of from Hell?
No.
Okay.
I don't think
They're
so.
also in the trailer music realm, and I guess I'll have to shoot you some of their content.
Yeah, I'm really curious because you know, anytime I hear something new, you know, my ears perk out. Maybe I won't like it, maybe I'll love it. I don't know, but I definitely want to check it out either way and make a some sort of a decision. You know.
Oh yeah, it's good stuff.
Hmm.
But more importantly, man, how the hell are you?
I'm tired, bro. I'm beat. This has been a very long um, week and a half, I would say.
Hmm.
Just a lot of stress and some, you know, some tragic news in my personal life, and um, you know, we had a shift change at work, and we're down a person, so we've been kind of working a little harder. Not to say that we don't work hard to begin with, but you know, when you lose a person on the team, um, you know, it everybody else has to kind of pick up the workload.
Double duty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So like, you know, normally we would have we would kind of rotate the double duty and kind of give everybody a chance to kind of take a step back and take a break a little bit. But with that person gone, you know, we no longer have that luxury. So you know, it's just been a long week. I've basically worked essentially 7 days in a row, and
Mm.
I'm just tired. And you know, our planning for this episode is going to reflect that. So
Yeah, like we said before, there's not going to be a whole lot of structure to this one, folks. So
yeah.
for anyone tuning in, expect this to kind of go off the rails, but in a good way.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I'm actually looking forward to like not having like a list of topics to discuss. And shout out to the chat room on Twitch. Check us out on twitch.tv/WDGR podcast. Saikoro has joined the party. Thank you for tuning in today, Saikoro. We appreciate you being here, man.
Howdy.
So yeah, man, it's just we got some stuff we want to talk about. Did I do the site shilling yet? I don't remember.
Um, it's funny. I don't really either because I was too busy saying everything backwards. Why don't we just get it out there again, just
Yeah,
in
yeah.
case?
So it's www.wdgrpodcast.com. That's where you'll find our blogs, our Music Mondays, and of course, every single episode of this podcast, which drops once a week on Wednesdays. Of course, we've been calling Twitch our home for recording sessions over these past 4 weeks. Twitch.tv/WDGR podcast. If you missed a Twitch recording, you can see it on YouTube on Wednesday as well, too. It does drop there. So if you like to look at our lovely faces while we're recording, you know, feel free to tune in there. But as far as the audio version goes, you can still get that on Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, anywhere you get your podcasts. We're there.
Mm.
Just go ahead and download that. And of course, we're on social media: Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at WDGR Podcast. I think that's the
We're
most.
pretty easy to find these days, huh, Drew?
We're everywhere. If as long as you know our handle, like the WDGR podcast, which is a mouthful, I admit. But as long as you got that, you can find us. Maybe we need like a SoundCloud page too. I don't know. WDGR podcast SoundCloud. You can hear me droning on about stupid shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are some there are
I'll
some
just
podcasts that are on SoundCloud.
I don't have a keyboard, so I'll just be like, you know.
Some Buddhist stuff
Yeah.
with your navy mug, dude. That's a tall navy mug at that too.
I don't fuck around, bro. I don't fuck around. I gotta get our logo. I gotta get a mug with our logo like right here, so I can make it look official. You know, like one of those late night talk show hosts. You know.
Yeah, I feel like they just drink water or just like air.
Well, probably. I mean, see if I
I feel like
was.
they sip at it like 80 times and it's still there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have my gigantic water bottle too, and I'm sure you do as well.
Yeah, but giant one. It's ridiculous because every time we go out and do errands, Laura and I always bring it with us,
Yeah,
and it ends up rolling around like some weird tank shell in the car because you can't put it in a cup holder because
yeah.
it's massive.
But I mean, like I run into the same thing. But if I leave it at home, even if I just like go down the street, like around the corner to fill up my gas tank, and I come right back home, if I leave that water bottle home, I'm fucking parched by the time I get
Yeah.
back to the house. You know?
Yeah, the other day when we were running errands, I said to Lauren, we were at a red light,
Mm.
and I was like, we just need to invent, or there needs to be some kind of cylindrical compartment or attachment that can go in your car, so you could just slot
Mm.
that tank shell of a water bottle in there, and it just wouldn't move.
I like it.
Because if not, it's on the back seat and it's getting rolled around, or it's between your legs while you're driving like a weirdo.
Yeah, that would be uncomfortable. I'll just let it roll around.
Yeah, but your boy gets thirsty, so you gotta you gotta be prepared with that H2O at all times.
Stay hydrated, homie.
Yeah, while you're doing your errands. No one can just go, oh my God, here's Vic.
Oh God.
Arise, chicken, arise. Like, you can't just go to Target for half an hour without a drink of water, without just like a swill of it. And there have been times where we brought it with us and we don't even touch it, so it just ends up becoming a nuisance.
Well, it's like that safety blanket, man. Like if you leave home without it, like you have that panic attack, right?
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of panic attacks, let's talk a little bit about my morning real quick here.
Great.
So this is fucking brilliant, man. So Nikki's been working from home, right? And we decided to switch cars, and I'm going to drive her car a couple days a week because I'm still driving to Stanford, and she's got a brand new fucking battery in the car. I don't want it to die, so want to keep her car kind of moving. I'll drive the cars. I'll flip back and forth between the two of them, save some mileage on mine, put some mileage on hers, and it'll be wonderful, right? Except I keep my mask and my work badge in my car. And, I'll swap my mask out every few days when it's dirty and whatnot. But generally speaking, like, I'll when I bring the mask in, I'll immediately bring another one out to the car. I forgot to bring a mask with me today. And I forgot my fucking badge at work. So I'm trying I found in my backpack like this one like disposable mask, right? And I'm like, I've been leaving it in there just in case this sort of thing happens. So I'm like, great, I'm covered. I got my mask, I'm good. And then I get all the way to work and I realize that the fucking badge isn't there too. So I'm like, all right, well, I got to call my supervisor to get in the building, which isn't a big deal, but it's annoying, right? Mm-hmm. I'm like, at least I got my mask. I go to put the mask on, the fucking strap breaks off the damn thing.
Oh, no.
Right in the parking lot. So I'm like, I call the supervisor. I'm like, I need a favor. I need two things. First of all, I left my badge. Secondly, do you have any extra masks? And he's like, well, I can definitely come down and get you, but I don't know if we have any other masks. I'm like, all right. So I was wearing a hoodie, my Mass Effect hoodie with the N7 logo and the stripe on it, right?
Yeah.
And it has a pretty like tall collar on it. So I was taking the hoodie and I like went like this with it over my nose, and
lasted like 3 seconds.
Well, I mean, it wasn't great, but it held on better than I would expected it to. It was long enough for me to get in the building, and I was like, you know what? I have to get this mask working because this guy doesn't have a spare mask for me. So I take the stapler and I fucking staple the shit out of the part that ripped off. I put the thing on my head and it works. 5 minutes later, I take the mask off to get a sip of water. The other strap breaks off.
Oh my word.
So I take this mask and I just start stapling the entire thing. I got like,
out of frustration.
I got like 14 staples.
Oh my God. You monster.
It held for
you ill-prepared monster.
It held for the rest of the day.
Hey, what else are you going to do?
Yeah.
They should have masks there.
Well,
like just a box of like the regular.
They did, but
disposable ones.
They did, but the person that had them, I guess they were in like somebody's office, and they didn't come in until 9, so I had to wait a couple hours. But I ended up getting one, so it worked out.
Good.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a streamline or swing line, I think is the term you're looking for.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, is there any other kind of stapler? Let's be completely honest here. I mean,
it's true.
Got my swing line right here.
They make a world of a difference, man. I actually have a streamline or a. It's got me seeing streamline now. I have a swing line designer series that I got. It's some crazy like I don't know. It's like a different shape, but it's this beautiful red stapler, which I'm pretty sure Milton had in Office Space.
Oh, he did.
I think it was red.
Yeah, it was his red stapler.
Dude, I've had it for years. It still looks brand new. I've dropped it. It works every time. You get what you pay for with staplers, man.
Dude, you could murder somebody with that fucking thing.
Oh yeah, it's so heavy.
Like
club somebody.
Like you hear that thud? Like that's authority right there.
Yeah.
So, anyway, what have you been playing?
Oh my God, yeah, that's a good transition. Swingline staplers to The Last Guardian.
Wait. Swingline stapler, The Last Guardian. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My God.
Catch us up on how you're doing with Last Guardian.
Yeah, so my intentions were to beat this game over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Still didn't happen, and I'm gonna tell you why. Um, a good way to kind of sum up this game, and I actually wrote this down because it just kind of came to me while I was at work today. It's essentially solving fairly basic puzzles
Mm-hmm.
that consist of getting from A to B while communicating with a stubborn cat dragon as an 11-year-old boy in a beautiful dreamlike environment with terrible controls and response times. That is
Stubborn
what this game is.
cat dragon.
Yeah, there's our episode
Episode
right there.
title.
Yep. Stubborn cat dragon.
Oh
Dude,
god.
but seriously though, man, like I really want to love this game and there are
Yeah.
parts that I do enjoy, but it's very maddening and it's painfully slow. And I think that's why it's taken me so long to beat it.
I feel like at this point you really are just beating it because you promised me you would.
Yeah,
You know?
that's certainly part of the equation, man. The rest
know?
of it is because I promised myself. Third, because I want to, put another notch on the chalkboard,
Yeah.
and then I do want to actually see where it's going to go because I feel like I've invested enough time, and I
Sure.
only have apparently like 3 hours left. So, and that's another thing. Like, I guess I really thought that I had made more progress. I guess I underestimated my time spent with it because there's approximately 3 more hours to go.
Wow.
Based on the walkthrough that I've referenced to figure out where to go, the guy beat it in just under 6 hours, and where I'm at is at like the 3 hour mark. So I thought that I had played for at least three, but I've only played for three after all this time. So it's that kind of tells you something.
But it sounds like it's a much shorter game than I had realized. Like I figured you were putting like 10 to 15 hours into this thing at this point.
Yeah, it's I want to say on how long to beat we looked it up. I want to say last time and it was at least 12 or 15 hours, which
Yeah.
it definitely feels like I've played it for that long.
It was still
it
in my
feels like
it's in my fucking search history.
yeah, I feel like it's going to take me that long to still beat it.
Yeah, 13 hours.
But I mean, here's a couple notes I made. Like Trico is just so maddeningly frustrating to have as a companion because you have a lot of different commands that you can give him. Like as you progress through the game, you learn different commands where you can enable him to jump or to go a certain direction. But the way that they've engineered him in the game is they've made it so that he's kind of like a realistic animal or beast, if you will.
Okay.
So when you go to ask him to jump, he won't do it right away. It's kind of like, dealing with a dog or a new pet that isn't fully trained. So if you tell a dog to jump, he won't jump at all. And
Right.
you've got to keep saying it until they finally do it. And it's just as painful as like when you're at like a picnic and somebody's like, hey, Scotty, sit. Scotty, sit. And they just won't sit and they just keep saying it and saying it. And you're just standing there and just like, dude, just give it up, man. He ain't going to sit for you.
So, not that I'm condoning this behavior in real life, but can you just beat the shit out of the cat dragon?
No,
Oh,
you can't.
Okay.
Because not only is he, absolutely massive compared to you as like this 11-year-old kid.
yeah.
But yeah, it's just not possible. This game is too kind, for those kind of actions.
Fair enough. That's disappointing, man. Like, I mean, we talked about this a couple weeks ago where you kind of get to a point with a game where maybe it's just not worth the effort to put into it, Is this the type of game that you think you might drop? Like, is it worth it for you to invest this much time into this game if you're not enjoying it?
Well, see, the thing is it's like this weird love-hate relationship that I think that I'm having with this game. For example, like the soundtrack is brilliantly composed, but
Right.
somehow it doesn't even really seem fitting for the game.
Mm.
I feel like it could fit extremely well, but since the gameplay is so dry
Right.
and sort of humdrum, it feels very like underdeserved. So, for example, think of it like the docking sequence from Interstellar.
Okay.
A monumental moment in film and music, but queued up when Trico attacks some guards briefly. So, if there's like a moment that I had last night where I had to escape some guards, Trico came in and knocked them over and, defeated them for me. But this amazing music gets cued when that happens, and it just felt so out of place.
Okay.
But like it's those small little things are keeping me invested because I do like the soundtrack. I like the art style. The visuals are great. It does have that dreamlike quality to the environment that you're in, and I do like the bond that's formed between us.
Hmm.
Whereas I feel like if I lost Trico, like I would actually feel it, as a gamer,
Right.
or as the player rather. But everything else about it is just really marred. The gameplay, the controls, the lack of precision, the constant fighting with the camera,
Okay.
all that kind of stuff is marring. Like I think I had said on last episode, um, all the good parts about the game.
Yeah.
So, and the other reason I want to stick with it is because it is fairly highly regarded. It was reviewed well, and I think for the most part, the lowest score it got was like a 7 out of 10, if I'm not mistaken.
Hmm.
So, you know, I just want to see where it's going to go, and I think because I only have a few hours left, I should be able to do it.
Okay.
But man, I don't really sit there at work and think, oh, I can't wait to button up this game.
Yeah.
It's a chore now.
You should just
And when a
hit
game becomes a chore, it's never a good thing.
just hit Trico. Is it Trico?
Trico.
Yeah, just hit him with the swing line.
um, but yeah, it's. I think I'm going to save some of my other notes here for the review because I've got some more in-depth stuff that,
Hmm.
excuse me, I wrote down today.
All right.
But I want to save that for the final review because this is more of just like we're beyond first impressions. This is just progress. This is kind of where I'm at in the game.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I'm torn, and we'll see. I really hope that the rest of the game, kind of just squashes and buries some of the qualms that I have with it, but I doubt it.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like you've played enough to kind of form a pretty concrete opinion at this point.
Yeah, and there's a great concept there. I'll
Mm.
give it that. The concept of building this bond between a beast and a young boy and having to help him and you're kind of helping each other.
Yeah.
I like that. It's great. But it's just not executed that well. And I can understand why because I performed some research on this game recently, and apparently it's had a very long development process that was very much like a stop and go thing, which is also never a good thing.
Mm.
Um, Originally, it was supposed to come out on PS3, and then it didn't, and it's been in development for a long time, and I think they kind of rushed it towards the end, and I think that kind of shows.
Mm. That's
So
disappointing.
it is a little bit because I was really looking forward to it, especially coming off the high of Shadow of the Colossus,
Hmm.
which, is a fantastic game. Everybody knows that by now after hearing me blab about it for
Yeah.
so long. But coming off that high and then kind of being hit with this sort of disappointment, it's, well, quite frankly, it's a little disappointing.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that, man.
It's all good, man. I'm not having a terrible time with it. It's just not exactly what I thought,
Right.
and that's okay.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I mean, I'd say if you think that you can beat it without just like getting completely bored of it, like go for it. But at the same token, there's a lot of really great games out there, and time is valuable. So
It is valuable, man. We've talked about that so many times. When we finally get to hunker down and do some gaming after a long day at work or
right.
a long week at work, you want to make sure that you choose that game wisely.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Um.
What about you?
Well, I've been kind of all over the place. I really haven't had a ton of time to game with work and the craziness of Thanksgiving and everything. Even though we really didn't do anything for Thanksgiving, it was just me and Nikki, but we spent the whole day cooking and whatnot for ourselves.
Mm.
But when I have had time, I've been kind of jumping around a little bit. Pretty much the same games that I've been playing for the past 2 weeks. Mostly Jedi Fallen Order.
Okay. A game I cannot wait to play.
Yeah, yeah. And that game is tremendous. I'm trying to resist the urge to collect as much as possible on each planet right away, and that's a struggle because the story does push you along, and it has you go back to planets that you've been to. So far, there are only 4 planets that I have access to. And one of them has not been part of the story as of yet. And I don't know if it's just like a bonus world or if it ultimately will be part of the story. I'm not sure, but I haven't gone there yet. I figure let me just kind of stick past the story first and see where it takes me. Because a lot of these collectibles, like this game is very much as it is like a game like Demon Souls or Dark Souls, whatever. It's also very much like Metroidvania games where there's a lot of secrets. There's a lot of areas that you can't get access to until you have certain powers. And I don't know if that's an element in Dark Souls as well. Maybe you can shed some light on that.
Um, I mean, in terms of like it being similar to Sekiro and Dark Souls, I would say I mean, there's a parry system, right?
Yeah, but I mean, specifically like the Metroidvania aspect of it where like there's a door that you can't access because you don't have the ability to open that door yet. Or like there's more specifically, for example, there's a double jump that you gain later on. You don't get that initially, right?
Okay.
So if I'm going into an area, maybe there's a chest that I can't reach yet that has a secret in it. And I won't be able to reach that until I unlock the double jump. So I can, when I get the double jump, I can go back to that planet and then get that chest. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I understand it. Yeah, there's similarities with the Souls games and Sekiro and stuff with that, but I wouldn't say it's that concrete or that relatable.
Okay.
I think similarities is a better way of putting it. Like I don't think in those games that you unlock certain abilities in order to get somewhere.
Okay.
It's more about finding a key. Finding a key or buying, like having enough souls to buy like a key to access an area, stuff like that.
Does it have you backtracking a lot with those keys?
Trying to think now. Not really.
Okay.
If I'm thinking of this clearly, not really. I mean, Sekiro, I can't really speak for because I haven't played enough of it. But for the Souls games and including Demon Souls, it's very much just if you're backtracking, it's just to farm for more souls or to grind.
Gotcha. Yeah, with this one, it's very much a case where you're unlocking abilities as you progress through the story, and then those abilities will let you gain access to areas that you at one point didn't have access to, on places that you've already been and left. So, and the game is pretty adept at kind of giving you a clue as to how much more of the area you still have to discover. There's a percentage on the map that tells you how much is explored. If you've explored an area, it will tell you how many chests there are in it. And it'll tell you how many that you've collected out of that total number. So the game gives you enough of a nudge to like say like, hey, go get all this cool shit. Unfortunately, it's not really cool shit at all. It's fucking like ponchos and lightsaber components that have no bearing on how strong your character is.
Ponchos.
So it's yeah, I'm serious. Like your dude wears a poncho and like maybe you'll get a red poncho or a green poncho or a blue poncho. And then you have a robot that's with you, BD1, who is fucking adorable. Let's be honest here.
It looks pretty cool.
Dude, fucking Star Wars nails the robots. Full stop.
They do. There's no doubt about it.
Oh my God. I don't understand how they put so much personality into such an inanimate object. Well, it's not inanimate, but how do they get a robot to have so much personality, right? And it's consistent across the board. It's not just R2. It's not just C-3PO. Every film, the robots, it could be a fucking soccer ball with a head. Amazing. Love it. Right? Okay.
Yeah.
So
the only thing that comes close to that is Wally.
Yes. And it's that same like, it's that magic. Yeah. I don't know what it is.
Pizza pie.
Is that the chef's a kiss?
Yeah.
But
De La Rosso. Oh my God. I feel like I should tell everybody maybe at some point on the show about that little Italian bit that I did on that photo.
Oh God. But yeah, man. And yes, Saikoro agreed. And the map system in Fallen Order is fantastic. Sometimes it gets a little confusing which level you're on because it does attempt to kind of draw 3D space a little bit. And you can use the D-pad to go up or down in the map system. But for the most part, though, it's pretty intuitive, and I think they did a great job with it because it is necessary. That map is absolutely necessary to try to figure out where you're going. I refer to it constantly. But man, like I can't wait for you to try this game out, and like it pains me to hear you talking about Last Guardian with such like disdain and melancholy in your voice, right? Because Fallen Order is fucking great. It's not perfect. Like there's bugs, there's glitches, but I haven't encountered too many of them that have been like game breaking or anything like that. It's it's pretty smooth, at least on the Series X.
Hmm.
And it's such a good game. And like just Saikoro said, my favorite part is how the entire design language of Fallen Order is classic Star Wars. He's 100% right. Like
Hmm.
this feels like it's part of the universe
Yeah.
wholeheartedly. Every aspect, the music, the voice acting, like everything has that just classic Star Wars feel that is so intangible to the series.
I feel like
And
it's like a modern day Shadows of the Empire in a way.
I mean, I think the quality is comparable. Yeah, I mean they're very different games, but yeah,
Yeah.
I can see what you're saying with that. Yeah, and like I compared it to like the quality level to KOTOR. Knights of the Old Republic. Obviously, again, completely kind of different kind of game, but that attention to detail and that love and passion definitely came through. Yeah, even the conversations with the people that you're on the ship with agreed.
With your buds on the ship,
Your
he
buds on the
says.
ship. Yeah.
Hey, bud.
There's a lot of small talk and there's a lot of character development, not just for your character but the people that are around you. So
Mm.
it's yeah, the I can't think of the pilot's name, but agrees. He's awesome.
How's the sound?
Awesome, unreal. I mean, I'm playing through my either my TV speakers or my surround sound speakers, depending on how loud I want it to be. but I mean, it's great. It sounds like a Star Wars movie. The blaster sounds are there. These lightsaber sounds are there. The stormtroopers, like when you approach a couple stormtroopers, they all sound the same. So they all have that voice and that distinctive that distinctive kind of like talking through
Yeah, that they're in a helmet,
yeah, exactly. So
but a
it's
Star Wars helmet,
very
because
much
there's a
so. It's
difference.
such a distinct sound. Like I don't know I don't know if there's like any kind of like sound design rules for Star Wars. It feels like there has to be because everything in that universe um is it just feels Star Wars,
Oh
like
yeah.
and this game wholeheartedly feels Star Wars. Even the ship that you're on, it's not one that I recall ever seeing in any of the movies, and it fits. It belongs there. And then the villains that you face, I don't want to get into spoilers with you, but even the villains that you face and the story that's being told surrounding them is just inherently Star Wars in every sense of the word. Um,
I think they're still using Skywalker sound at Skywalker Ranch, which is an
okay.
actual house.
Yes.
I forget the location of it, but I think
Mm.
that's where they do most of the audio for the films and stuff. So they probably have, patents almost at this point for the sounds that have to be used for these games.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Um, so yeah, man. As soon as you have an opportunity to fire it up, if you're serious about Last Guardian, don't fire it up before you finish Last Guardian because
Oh yeah, no.
you're not gonna want to put it down. And
That was my fear, and that's why I haven't done it, because I
yeah,
almost did yesterday. I was like, you know what, fuck this.
yeah,
And then I was like, don't you do it, because you're gonna fall in love with that game.
yeah, and I really think you will. And there's so many reasons for you too because it's a great Star Wars story. It's a great Star Wars game, and it is like all the best parts of the Souls-like experience. In my opinion, a much cooler presentation
More accessible.
for me. For me, I
Yeah.
realize that not everybody will agree with that statement. I'm sure there's people that adore the Souls universe and can't stand science fiction, and that's cool. But for me, like this is my shit, right? This is my jam right here, you know.
I think it'll be
So,
refreshing for me to get out of
mm,
my wheelhouse a little bit too, because I don't really play Star Wars games. In fact, I don't
yeah.
really play them at all. And I don't really play like action sorts of games. And I feel like this is kind of like an action game in a way.
Well, I mean, yeah, because there's a lot of platforming too. It's not just about the sword fights, but the sword fights, especially um, the the more complicated bosses, like you got to parry, you got to block, you got to dodge. It is wholeheartedly that Souls experience and that Sekiro experience that you're used to, where skill does matter. And I can feel myself in these boss fights as frustrated as I'm getting. Each time I do better. Each time I learn the pattern a little bit better, or I learn the how they forecast each move, and I can read that and dodge or block appropriately. You know, it's worth your time. It's well done. I don't think it's going to be that. It's not going to be a Dark Souls experience.
And that's fine.
And that's
I'm
fine.
not really looking for that.
Right. I think this will be that nice in between that will kind of bridge the gap for you, and you're gonna love it. I think you're gonna.
I think
love
I
it.
will. I usually have a pretty good feeling, about a game if I've seen enough gameplay or I've watched enough trailers, and
Yeah.
there's hype there, and I think I've seen enough to
Yeah.
know that this is going to be, potentially a WCG.
Yeah, I think it will be. I remember like playing it a couple weeks back, and then it's like, Will, I think really would like this game, and I sent you that text message. I'm like, I don't remember. You like Star Wars?
Yeah, I totally remember that, and I was like, this is kind of out of the blue because
Yeah.
we don't really even text that much, and especially about games.
Yeah.
But I knew at that moment I was like, you know what? I do need to look into this again, and I'm so glad I did.
Yeah, I'm glad you did too. So.
Yeah, and Damien, just for your knowledge, I did purchase the game. I want to say maybe like a week ago or something for like $23.99.
Yeah, you got a good deal.
So don't worry, it's getting played, dude.
That game got.
Yeah, it got bought, dude.
Uh.
So yeah, I mean, if things run on schedule and I stick with The Last Guardian and I get that buttoned up this week, then we're looking at Fallen Order on Monday. Monday at 5. Well, no. Monday at 8 p.m. sharp. Somewhere around there.
Very nice.
Maybe sooner.
We'll see.
If I can just handcuff myself to the chair and just force myself to finish The Last Guardian, then it could very well be this week.
I feel like you're gonna be like that guy in Clockwork Orange with his eyes like peeled open.
Yeah, more drops. Haunting movie.
Outside of that, I've been kind of the quick resume in the fucking Xbox is just it. I keep raving about it every week, but it is such a wonderful feature, man. I am just bouncing from game to game. When I hit a wall in Fallen Order, and I just like I'm 15 deaths in on that boss, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take a break, step back. I press 2 buttons. I'm in Tetris Effect in 60 seconds or less, and that's
I knew you were gonna say that.
It would have been Spiritfarer, but I've finished that thankfully. So I've been kind of bouncing between Tetris Effect. I've been I'm stuck on this one spot in Ori and the Blind Forest that I'm just fucking beating my head against the wall with. So that's the other one. I'll jump from Ori. I'll start out with Ori, and I'll try to get past this section, and I can't do it. I'm like, fuck this, and I'll fire up Fallen Order, in like 20 seconds flat. And then I'll get to this boss, and I'll just hit a wall with that boss. I'm like, fuck this, and then I'll move on to something else. So maybe I'll just kind of like run over cows in Forza Horizon, or I started a game 2 nights ago called Star Renegades. It's something that just came out on Game Pass recently, and it's a turn-based RPG. It has kind of that 16-bit look to it. I don't have enough time with it to really form an opinion yet. But it is, it seems like it deals with like parallel universes and sending like this robot across a parallel universe to stop like a civilization from being destroyed or something like that. The battle system seems pretty cool. It involves a lot of canceling out, like you have at the top of the screen, essentially an active time bar, kind of like what FF7 originally did, where everybody's depending on what they're doing, what their action they're taking, it speeds up or slows down how quickly it is before they act. And you can actually, your character's actions can interrupt the enemy's actions. So the trick is to try to kind of continually interrupt them until they're pushed off of that time bar, and then you can rack up some pretty sizable damage. But I've barely gotten through the tutorial, and I think I've only played like maybe 20 minutes past that. So yeah. I don't have enough time with this to say really much more than that. But it is interesting. It's a very stylish game. The graphics are reminiscent of a lot of the kind of 16-bit revival games that we've been seeing on the indie game circuit lately. And it's cool. I like it. I like the way it looks. I think that there's some sort of a rogue-like element to it, if I'm not mistaken. But I haven't really done a ton of research on that, which will be interesting if that's true, because I'm kind of curious to see what sorts of drops you get from certain enemies and if it's randomized or what the case is.
Sure.
But I have tomorrow off, so I'm going to do some editing, and I'm planning on putting some time into that as
Deeper
well.
dive. Yeah.
Yeah, because it seems like it's going to scratch that itch, for an RPG. I just want to see how long it is. If it's like a 30, 40-hour game, there's no way I'm going to hit that before,
It's like
Cyberpunk.
Octopath.
Yeah. And I think about Octopath all the time. I really want to circle back to that. Thoroughly enjoyed that game. And I think some of my favorite memories with that game were when I had it in the game room with me and I was sitting on that big cozy chair. You can kind of see where my thumb is.
Yep.
And I would have the blanket on me and the cat would be laying in my lap on the blanket. We talked about
Best way to play it, man.
that cozy game.
Yeah.
And then I moved the Switch into the living room so I could do Ring Fit. And I didn't really stick with that. So I guess I can really move it back into the game room again. But now it's kind of funny because, like, at this point, the only system that's in the game room, or excuse me, the only system that's in my living room is the Series X. Everything else has been moved into the game room. It's kind of
Oh,
weird.
speaking of cozy, when I
Mm,
looked up Spiritfarer to see if it was on sale, because I was
mm,
thinking about scooping it up on PSN,
yeah.
the description was a cozy
Mm-hmm.
management game about dying. And I
Yes.
was like, wow. Drew said this is a management game about dying. I like to talk about cozy games. This needs to happen.
You're
So I think it's 30. So I
okay.
might wait just to see if it drops maybe to like 19.
I think $20 or less is a good price point. I experienced it through Game Pass. I can tell you right
Mhm.
now, if it wasn't on Game Pass, I would not have paid $30 for it. And
Yeah.
that's not a knock against the game. I guess it kind of is. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong, but I don't feel like it's a $30 experience because the gameplay isn't robust enough. You
Yeah, and
know?
that's why I couldn't warrant the price either. I was like, all right, well, first of all, I'm taking a chance because I don't really mess with management games.
Yeah.
I've had a little bit of experience with a couple in the past, and they didn't, kind of go over so well.
Right.
But I take your word for it, man, and I think it's a game that I would enjoy based on the concept and the premise.
I think if you were to buy it, it's the kind of game that you would probably pull out when maybe you have a Sunday when nothing's going on and Lauren's just watching some movies or something. You curl up on the couch with your cats, play it for a couple hours, you put it down, and then maybe you don't touch it for a few days. Maybe you don't touch it again until next weekend. But
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
that sort of game, and it's very forgiving. It's not a very demanding game. Like any pressure that I had to feed any of the characters or get to someplace at a certain point in time were self-imposed. You can do whatever the fuck you want, and there's no real way to fail, I would say.
no repercussions.
But
Yeah,
there's no progress until you accomplish those things either, and there's definitely walls in the story where maybe you can't get to a certain area because you don't have the ability to drive your boat through ice. And there's a certain power up that you need to be able to do that. Well, those power ups can only be achieved by building them through, collecting different items, harvesting or, chopping down wood, building planks, things of that nature. And maybe one of those 4 or 5 items that you need to get that upgrade, you don't get until you bring somebody to the afterlife. So you have to kind of follow the story at your own leisure, but with respect to the content.
that's fair.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's structure there, but you can kind of dip in and dip out
Right.
as you choose.
Right. And there are a few side quests which are, ultimately meaningless, but they do kind of develop the story a little bit and give some context to the world that you're in. But they're mostly diversions. They're really not essential. So you can get out of it as much as you put into it, and it doesn't require a lot, but it's also a very forgiving game. So if you play it and 2 weeks later you come back to it again, you just look at your missions and you see where you got to go and go from there. It's very forgiving in that
I
respect.
could see myself playing this game on like a nice quiet Christmas Eve or,
Yes.
a snowy December day.
Mm-hmm. Well, you listen to the soundtrack, right?
I did. I
What'd you
ended up
think?
listening to most. Oh, dude, it was actually really impressive.
Mm,
At first, I was like, I don't know. There, it just wasn't like conjuring up that magic within me
mm-hmm.
to keep going with it. But then I was like, I got nothing going on. Let me just stick with this.
Yeah.
And it heats up, and there's some really good tracks on there. And I like reading the comments of what people think about some of the tracks because it helps you form like sort of an opinion
Sure.
on that particular piece. And it helped me just kind of gather my thoughts and come up with my own standpoint on it, really.
Yeah. And some of the tracks are paired with certain experiences in the game, so they'll have more impact when you're experiencing them, with context. And then some of the some of the tracks I just really didn't like. Like there's this one track for what they consider their bus station. Like there's a fast travel system in the game, and
Hmm.
and the fast travel is a magical seal. So, uh, and like when I say seal, I don't mean like seal of approval. I mean like the animal. Uh,
With whiskers. Yep.
with whiskers, and he jumps up in the air and claps his hands together, and then you're magically transported to another part of the map. But
Seems fitting for that game.
it is. I mean, it's a very appropriate. However, the music for the bus station that the seal resides at is terrible. It is the most annoying, obnoxious thing, and I believe that's intentional. Like that's supposed to be the point.
I'm sure it is.
It makes me want to get the fuck out of there as quickly as possible. So,
Mm.
but outside of that, most of the music I feel is incredibly appropriate, and just beautiful, just absolutely
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. It's very whimsical.
Mm.
It kind of has some kind of soaring qualities to it, which I really like, and
Hmm.
just has a nice flow to it. So I think it's definitely something that I'm going to be spending more time with.
Yeah, I think you'd enjoy it, and plus you get to play as Stella and Daffodil, the cat. And that
Yeah, it's
cat,
funny because when you look at the game at first glance, if you know nothing about it, you're like, oh, look at this cutesy kid game. And then you're like, oh, it's a management game about dying. Got it.
yeah, that game
Well,
is
shit.
it's super heavy, but it's so weird, man, because it's such a relaxing game. Like there's this like it's kind of bipolar in a way, because like
Mm.
when you're not like bringing one of the characters to the afterlife, like you're just chilling, you're just sailing the seas, going along, harvesting your crops, maybe making some French fries in the kitchen for the kid or whatever, and then you bring him to his death. So
Yeah.
you know
And that is something that I want to explore, though, not because I have a weird fascination with dying, but because it's such a different concept that I think we haven't really seen a lot in games, if at all.
Yeah. I think it's a concept that a lot of people are afraid to approach, understandably so.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think the way they handled it was appropriate, you know, because it was a beautiful thing. It wasn't a tragic thing.
Yeah, and that's the vibe that I've got from watching some gameplay videos. It doesn't seem like something that would make you feel kind of terrible. It's more
Mm,
just like well, it's like the experience that you had with it. You kind of have that sort of thoughtful
right.
emotion
Yeah.
or emotional experiences with that game, and they become a little bit more compassionate, I guess.
Yeah. Compassion's a good word. There's a lot of compassion in the game. Your character, Stella, is extremely compassionate, even to those who are somewhat rude to her.
Mm.
And I think the game translates that pretty nicely. And those characters that are rude initially come around to her kindness. So
That's a beautiful thing, man. I mean,
mm,
that's so translatable into real life because
it is.
most of us don't practice that. We look for cynicism or negativity in so many different avenues
Mm-hmm.
of walks of life. And the real reality is that we're supposed to be looking at the positives all the time and
Right.
even being kind to the people that are the meanest people that we come across. And you'll find that they're just battling their own demons, and they usually do come around.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So I think if I were you, like as far as price point goes, I think I would say 15.
Yeah, I think I'd be fine with 20, but yeah, 15, 20 is a nice little sweet spot.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a good place to do it. And then whatever game you're playing, honestly, no matter what it is, fire up Spiritfarer when you do buy it, because it's not the type of game that will demand your attention. You can play that game with something else simultaneously.
That's good.
So
Yeah, that's important to me
yeah.
because I generally don't like to bounce around too much.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of think there's room for both. Um, I like to have two games, maybe three, as long as they're offering different experiences. I
It's
don't
a
want to.
decent rotation.
Yeah, for a while I was trying to do a game on each system. One on the Switch, one on the
Mm.
PS4, one on the Xbox. Didn't really work out too well for me. I just kind of like inevitably just kind of gravitated towards one specific game and stuck with it. But I think if you have different experiences with the things that you're playing, um, that can be a rewarding thing. And I think a game like Spiritfarer or Tetris Effect make good companion games because those games don't necessarily demand all of your attention. They don't have a story that you have to spend too much time focusing on. Spiritfarer, I think, is worth paying attention to, but it's so casual, it's okay if you miss a beat, right? But Tetris Effect doesn't have a story. So if I just hop in and I play a couple rounds before bed, like, all right, cool. Like, that's great. It doesn't affect Jedi Fallen Order,
You ever dream of Tetris blocks if you play that close to bedtime?
I have not. I have
I feel like
not.
some people probably do when they're done playing that game. Even if they played at, say, 2 o'clock in the afternoon and then
Mm,
went to bed at 10, I'm sure they probably dreamt of it
yeah. Well,
because it's that kind of game. It's got that, it's the same sort of image and the same repetitiveness that it's probably it's more than likely gonna happen.
Saikoro, I'm not surprised that you dream of Tetris blocks.
He says I do. Yeah,
um,
that's definitely a Damien thing.
yeah.
Because he's got that mind,
Mm.
that Gemini genius mind.
I wonder if he
That's
dream.
not that's
I wonder if he dreams in Destiny guns. Oh boy. I wonder if he dreams in Technicolor as well. Oh
Yeah, he
man.
was tearing it up. You were tearing it up earlier, Damien, on your Twitch with Destiny. It's a pleasure to watch Damien on his Twitch because
Yeah.
no matter what game he plays, he's always just going ham.
Yeah. It's twitch.tv/Saikoro_Twitch, correct?
I think so.
I hope that's
Let
right.
him be the judge of that.
Yeah, give us a thumbs up or a confirmation there. He's grinning, so I guess I didn't fuck it up too bad. So, um, yeah, I guess he likes ham too. Yes. I got to figure out a way to get the chat room to show up on the stream, so anybody that's watching it later on can see what's going on too. I'll have to mess around with that tomorrow. But Black Friday, Cyber Monday was this weekend. In fact, Cyber
Mm.
Monday is still happening as we speak. Did you participate?
I looked. I did a lot of lurking. I checked out the PSN store. There's some stuff in there.
Mhm.
I had mentioned privately Heavy Rain remastered for PS4.
Okay.
I think right now it's like $5 or $9 somewhere. I think it's like $9.
Okay.
I've wanted to play that game for a lot of years,
Hmm.
mainly because the premise, the soundtrack, the demo that I played on PS3 was good.
Hmm.
It seems like my kind of game. And then another one was Assassin's Creed 3 remastered,
Okay.
also for PS4, and another game that I played. I played a lot more of that one though, more than a demo.
Hmm.
And again, love the soundtrack, love the game. Just never beat it. It's just one of those games that you have to invest a good 40 hours at least,
Hmm.
and I just didn't do it at the time. But yeah, I'm still keeping an eye on those two, and I think that one was 11 or 15, somewhere around there.
Okay.
So those two, and then outside of that, uh, more sound libraries for music.
Mm.
So I have
Mm.
to make a decision soon because, as you said, Cyber Monday is still in effect, but it's 7:24, and generally my bedtime is 11 latest.
Yeah.
So I'll have to make a decision on some stuff this evening.
I'm not gonna lie. I envy that 11 p.m. bedtime. I've been in bed like 8:30 past
Yeah, 11's
3 days.
pushing it, by the way. Like,
Ugh.
there's plenty of nights where I've gone to bed anywhere between 9 and 10.
Yeah.
Is actually a little bit more realistic. 11 is definitely pushing it. That's if we're
Yeah.
up late watching a show, a movie, or if I'm struggling with The Last Guardian.
Yeah. Oh man, I feel so old. It's so pathetic, man. Like I go to bed and like I'll be sleeping. I'll be like lights out and I'll get like text messages and I'll wake up the next day and I'll look at my text messages and these texts are coming in at like 9, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. I'm like, yep, I was snoring. But I get up at 4:30, so that
Yeah.
that's part of it, I guess. But
No, you can't be going to bed at 11 o'clock when you're getting up at 4:30.
no, I wouldn't function. Um, I really haven't looked at the Cyber Monday deals too much. I'm gonna take a look at Slick Deals when we stop recording. But I did pick up a couple 3-month subscriptions for Game Pass. Best Buy was doing it for $23, and I was making a purchase there anyway using Best Buy coupons. So I just added the 3 months on there, extended my total, and then I caught a deal at Target for another 3 months for $20. And I was like, this is a pretty good one too. So I swooped that up. So I've added 6 months to my Xbox Game Pass subscription. I'm currently sitting at an expiration date of April of 2022. So I'm good for a while, and that makes me pretty happy. I saw that there were a couple physical PS4 games that were on sale through Slick Deals, but I don't remember which ones they were, and I don't think it was anything that I was particularly interested in.
Yeah,
So,
nothing really jumped out at me, man. And I generally don't really shop on Black Friday or Cyber Monday.
yeah.
Usually because most of the time this time of year we are saving for Christmas presents and stuff like that, so we don't really do we just don't partake in those two events. I was wondering where you were.
Aw, who's that?
This is Atlas.
Hey, Atlas.
I was literally just thinking, I was like, I have not seen him. He's not in his little bed. He's not on the podium.
Yeah.
And then he just shows up, and now he's on my lap.
Aw, what a cutie boy.
What a good boy.
I
He's a textured boy. His fur is different than Mars. It's got like a coarse quality to it, but it's still really soft.
Yeah. Cats are awesome.
He really is, man. I love these guys. But yeah, I looked. We're looking at 2 games right now. I checked out some other games that I was interested in, and either they're still full price or they're not low enough for me to warrant buying now. So I would imagine that I'll probably get Heavy Rain because it is only $9, and that is a fantastic deal.
Yeah.
And outside of that, man, it's probably going to be some non-gaming related purchases, if anything.
Nice.
More stuff for music creation, which I'm going to not reveal what that library would be because I want to keep it as a surprise. It's going to be a slightly different turn, not for a permanent turn in my sound, but something to add in addition to it.
Is it heavy metal? I bet it's heavy metal.
No. But I think when people hear it, they're probably going to be thinking, "Yeah, this is Will."
Very cool. Looking forward to it, man.
Yeah. So we'll make that decision by 10 o'clock tonight.
I'm on
Right before bedtime.
I'm looking on Slick Deals now, and there's some pretty good ones. I mean, it's a lot of PS4 games. Target's got Death Stranding for $17, Last of Us Part 2 for $25.50 on Amazon. Let's see here. Looks like the PlayStation Store has some good deals too. Destroy All Humans 2 is $3. Doom 64 for $1.99. That's worth it, Just kind of browsing through, but like I don't see a ton. God of War Standard Edition, $8.50. So,
really?
Yeah.
Well, you already own it, right?
I have a physical, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so you're good.
Ghost of Tsushima, $34. I feel like that should go lower.
How much is it? 44?
34.
Oh, 34?
Yeah.
I mean, I think the reason why it's probably at that value right now is because of the new content that they just dropped. So they're probably considering that it still has a lot of value, which it does. But, a good $29.99 makes a little bit more sense, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, in the chat room, Psychoros chiming in, and he says that $35 is worth every penny. And that may be true, but it's not worth every penny if I buy it and don't play it. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I've been wholeheartedly investing my time in my Xbox since that came in. And I still have games on the PS4 that I haven't even touched yet, including God of War. I've never finished Horizon Zero Dawn. And those are just the 2 biggest ones. I mean, there's other games on there. And before you yell at me, dude, you haven't played God of War yet, there's only so many hours in the day. Zach has already yelled at me numerous times for this. He could shove it. But that's kind of where I'm at. And then, I don't help myself with the backlog. But as I said before, Cyberpunk is coming out soon. And I'm looking forward to, spending 1 million hours with that. So
that's too funny, Damien. You'll understand that when you eventually play it, Drew.
I know. I mean, I've heard the jokes about boy, you know.
Yeah, yeah, the direction of deer, all that.
Yep.
Yeah, you'll get to it, man. I think next year you'll probably get to it for sure.
Probably. Like I was thinking about it earlier today too. Like I still haven't played Breath of the Wild. I have a copy of
Um,
that. You know, like
that's
it
a risky one.
kind of, but I mean, like it's not just the PS4 that's not getting the love right now. The Switch hasn't gotten any love since the summer. Like I don't think I've turned on my Switch since like August. Um, and I don't think I've turned on my PlayStation 4 since we played Fall Guys. So it's it's kind of a problem. Well, the difference is, Saikoro, I have Breath of the Wild already. I don't have Ghost of Tsushima, so
Mm,
I'm more likely to play the game that I've already bought, if you know what I mean. Um, I'm just trying to like make sense of the backlog, and as much as I love Game Pass, that shit don't help, because it's like, oh, by the way, here's 4 new games. Have fun.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Star Renegades just came out a couple weeks ago, and I was like, oh, that looks cool. I guess I'll play it. And it's like right there. I'm not investing any more money into it. I already have paid for it. You know,
Yeah,
and
it's.
yeah,
I was just gonna say it's tough, man, and I think we all know this that when it comes to these specials, the Black Friday specials and Cyber Monday specials,
yeah,
they're hard to resist because you can fight that urge of just saying, "Oh, I'm not buying any more games because I have this backlog." But on the other hand, some of these deals are really, really low,
right,
and to see those prices again is actually kind of difficult. So with
sure,
Heavy Rain, I probably will scoop that because I think if it goes down in price again, sure, it might hit 9 in the future, but I don't really know when.
yeah,
It's more likely to hit 20 or 15. So that's why I can see why these sales do so well because they are essentially, in some ways, like a one-time
right.
sort of offer.
Yeah, I mean, in our Discord room, earlier today, Joe Jonas was talking about, his backlog, and he had a goal of trying to hit 52 games in 52 weeks, which I can't even imagine it. But he beats games on a regular basis, so for him that's pretty feasible.
Mm.
And he's on target. He's looking at 48 as of right now, so he feels like he'll hit the 52 before the end of the year, which good on him, man. But he was talking about how a lot of these games are games that he's gotten review codes for, and how it's like prevented him from hitting the backlog. And if you're serious about tackling your backlog, the only way to do that is to stop buying games.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm really bad at. And even if I don't like actually purchase another game, um, Game Pass has 200 games on it right now. EA just dropped their entire library on Game Pass on November 12th or November
Yeah,
10th.
it's just a sea of content most
It
of the time for
is.
all of us, and it's very hard to stay rigid
Right.
with that structure and that discipline. And even for Joe, who is disciplined with gaming, he's revealing himself that it's overwhelming.
It can
And
be.
don't take it from us. For people that listen to this show, don't take backlog advice from us. I mean, even though we have
Yeah.
good advice,
I'm
it's better to go on YouTube. I've actually done this. I think I did it like a month ago. I went on YouTube and I was actually looking for like different advice to see how you could get through it. And there's great advice out there. Create a list of what you have, write down how long each game is,
mm-hmm.
stop buying new games, don't get distracted, don't buy into when people say, "Oh, dude, you got to play Demon Souls." You just have to fight it
Yeah.
because if you just keep collecting, you keep purchasing, you're going to drown yourself.
I was doing really wonderful with the one game at a time approach. And, for a while I was really like just knocking them out of the park, and they were short games, granted. But I was hitting, every week. I was like, all right, I'm going to play this game and this game only. And I stuck to it and beat it, moved on to the next one, right? And
Mm.
then I got my Series X with the quick resume, and I'm like, ooh, let me see how many games I can just jump between. And that's what I've been doing since. I've just been like, I don't want to play this anymore. Boop, boop, boom, next
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
I don't want to play this one anymore. Boop, 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 next game.
Yeah, it's
Eh,
a combination of having
Yeah.
too much accessibility to our content
Mm,
and also not having that patience. Like all it takes is that one moment where you're like, "Fuck this puzzle, man,"
yeah.
and then quick resume,
Yep.
quick launch or whatever, and you can get out of that situation that you're in.
Yeah. It absolutely caters to the ADD in me.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's like your phone, you know, it fills up
Totally.
all those little specks of boredom that you have while you're waiting at the doctor's office. Whip out the phone, boom, boredom gone.
Yeah, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Vic
Um,
says he's been going between 4 games now.
which
Interesting.
games? I'm kind of curious. I'm sure PUBG,
Fuser.
Tetris, Fuser, and Hot Shot Racing. That's my guess. Let us
I'm
know
gonna
if.
say all of those when I take out Hot Shot and replace it with Street Fighter 4 for Xbox 360.
Oh, he just reinstalled Destiny. Wow. All right.
And that was a joke, Vic. You'd probably he's probably gonna laugh on that one because
Uh,
dude, Vic knows that like sort of I've commended his ability to stick with 1 to 2 games. Like he usually has one, maybe 3 games tops in rotation, or at least he did back in the 360 era.
mm-hmm.
And you would see him just dedicated to like 2 games only.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I still respect that about him because there's not many people that can do that.
No. No. I mean, do you ever like he says he beat Tetris and Fuser, and my answer to that is, do you ever really beat Tetris though?
Yeah, I mean, sure, you can beat the story mode and
Yeah.
unlock a bunch of stuff, but
Right.
generally it's a never-ending game.
Yeah. I mean, I beat it on the PS4. I'm going through it again. Why the fuck not, right?
Yeah. Beating a game is like beating Uncharted 4,
Right.
When the game's beat, it's beat.
Right.
You go back, you do it on hard mode.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah.
Exactly. What else you want to talk about, man? Anything else on your mind, or?
I'm starting to actually wonder if people even really beat games anymore. And it's not even because of like a lack of discipline. It's also because of the way that these games are structured to be so long.
Uh-huh.
I'm actually just sitting here genuinely thinking like, who's really beating games anymore?
I know, like I
Um,
guess the new Assassin's Creed is like absurdly long, and there's some reports that are saying that like the campaign for Cyberpunk is a minimum of like 80 hours, and that's not including like side quests and shit. Fuck the it took the IGN guy. IGN reviewed the first 16 hours of the game, like well, they didn't review it, they played it, and the guy was like, yeah, it took me 3 hours to get to the title screen.
oh yeah, I heard about that.
Oh
Did you
man.
also see that meme that's been floating around? It's probably completely fake, where it's like a trailer and then game, and it's a shot of Keanu Reeves's character in the game,
Hmm.
where like he looks pristine in the trailer and he looks like a Xbox original character in the game version. It's like a side by side.
I have not
Um,
seen
I,
that.
you should look that up. I really hope it's not real. I'm sure it's not, but if it
Hmm.
is, we're looking at a Watch Dogs situation here.
I've seen gameplay videos that CD Projekt Red has shared, and they showed off both the Series X and the Xbox One, and both of them look pretty good, but the Series X looked like spectacular. Now, granted, those may have been controlled environments. They may have been showing you what they wanted to see or wanted to show you, but I'll send you a link to that video offline because I think to me it was pretty impressive looking, and if that's what they deliver, like I'm on board.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it looks good because it
Yeah,
it does look really good.
yeah.
I don't know if it's really my kind of thing, but I really haven't explored it much, to be fair. So I don't know if I can really have
Mm.
a solid opinion on that game yet.
My understanding is it's very heavy on the role playing and very light on like the gunplay and the action. So if you're looking for like an action packed game, Cyberpunk may not be it. If you're looking for a true RPG, it sounds like this is going to fulfill that need.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just looking at Vic's comments here, and I kind of agree.
Mm,
Again, I haven't explored this game very much, so I can't really say that I'm skeptical or nervous or
mm,
apprehensive, whatever you want to say. But I'm, I guess, kind of worried for the people that are excited for the game because the hype around this game is massive.
yeah,
I really hope it can deliver on that hype
yeah, me
because
too.
I feel like if they don't, we're gonna have a lot of disappointed fans out there because I, I don't know why actually so many people are excited for this game. I mean, I get that the whole environment is very cyberpunk, if you will.
Yeah,
But I think I need to explore it more and understand why that hype is so strong.
I
Because I
mean,
really don't think I do understand.
I think I'm kind of on board with the hype train too. I'm not gonna lie, but it's just the universe appeals to me more than The Witcher, and I have a lot of respect for people that speak highly of that game. You know, like a lot of people that I respect speak very highly of The Witcher. So yeah, I guess I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, like that universe just doesn't interest me. But Cyberpunk does. Like, you know, some of my favorite movies, Blade Runner, you know, shit like that, Johnny Mnemonic, all those kind of like just for lack of a better word, cyberpunk like movies, you know,
Yeah.
like that's
Yeah.
almost a genre in of itself, and that's the kind of stuff that I'm really into. And you know, I think it has the potential to be really good, and I hope that it is. And I don't know how much I'm going to play it. I don't know if I'm going to put all you know, everything into it to beat the campaign. I'd like to, but I have high expectations, and I'm looking forward. I have high expectations, but my expectations aren't specific,
Sure.
if that makes sense. You know,
That does make sense.
I don't know what to expect, but I expect it to be good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think that's probably in the camp of most people. But it was marketed well. I mean, even just that Keanu Reeves appearance was,
oh man,
was I mean, that was huge.
that was awesome. And I guess he has a pretty significant role in the game too. It's not just like a cameo. Like he is with you the entire time. So, you know, that's pretty big. That's a big deal.
Yeah, and it is kind of. I mean, I think we spoke about it last time. I said that it was like a new IP, but you said technically it is based off of.
Yeah,
I think you said it was a book or a previous game or a movie or something. I can't remember what you said.
It's a pen and paper RPG, like Dungeons and Dragons kind of stuff, you know. So the Cyberpunk as a franchise has been around for a long time, but it really doesn't have a lot of time in video games. I think there was one video game that I found from years and years ago, and then, you know, this will be the newest one. Now they announced this like, you know, 7-8 years ago as it is. This has been in production for a long time.
Yeah, somebody made a post about that. I remember Jimmy reacted to 2011 or
Yeah.
13 or something like that.
Right. So,
Yeah.
but,
It's when does it come out?
Days,
Right?
Allegedly December 10th.
Okay.
But, you know,
That's the new date.
that's the new date. Yeah.
The new date. Okay.
We'll see if that holds.
So you're saying allegedly because you feel like it could move again.
I wouldn't be surprised if it does. I have no insight or indication that it will, but the amount of times that it's been delayed at this point, if they delayed it again, whatever, like it's not going to change anything for me. It'll give me more time to play the other games that are just piling up in the corner of my backlog.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think after the show, I'm gonna explore this universe a little bit more.
Yeah, let me send you that trailer. CD Projekt Red puts out videos on the regular, called Night City, I want to say, or Night Watch or something like that, right? And it essentially is it's a controlled demo that they're showing, but it's they're pretty insightful and really opening up about what you could do in the game. And, you know, there's a woman that kind of like leads you through it and talks about it. And then there's some pretty cool stuff. The most recent one had supposedly actual gameplay footage. And, you know, if that is accurate, and I have no reason to believe it isn't, it looks really good.
Yeah, please send me over as much content as you feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, on that note, why don't we wrap it up, man? What do you think?
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
All right.
Kind of sluggish and tired.
Yeah.
I think we both are, man. It's like the story of our lives now.
It pretty much is.
We're just dying podcasters. Not true.
First of all, everybody that's in the chat tonight, thank you guys. We appreciate you stopping by. You absolutely helped make this a more enjoyable experience. But, we love podcasting anyway. We'd be here every week for you. We are broadcasting on Twitch every Monday, 6:30 p.m. Episodes go live to everybody else Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern, anywhere you get your podcast. That's Apple, Google, Podcast Republic, Podcatcher.
Stitcher, kid.
Stitcher. Tune in.
Get your podcasts on Stitcher.
Of course, we're on the web at WDGRPodcast.com, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at WDGRPodcast. We've got a Discord room, and it is full of awesome, awesome people. We have a room where you can show off your pets. We have a room where you could show off your food. If you want to make a burger out of a donut, you could show it off there.
Yep. Probably get a thumbs up at a minimum.
Yep. We have
content creators.
Content creators where our fellow content creators can share their stuff.
We have deals.
We don't have pets eating tabletop food, but if the pets happen to, and I capture that, then yes, we'll share that. We have a deals room. We got all kinds of cool stuff, and we even do community game nights from time to time. So come on by, join us. There's a link for that in the Twitch chat. There's a link for that in the show notes. There's a link for that in everything, anywhere you can. And if you can't find it, hit me up on Twitter at ScienceStorm. I'll send you the link. I'll be more than happy to. You see how smooth that shit was?
Not only that, it's just Vortex, man, just hijacking this shill.
Yeah, I am shilling, and Vortex is summoning chickens. Will, SoundCloud, go.
Yes, soundcloud.com/will_gear. If you like, weird sort of techno 80s synth pop typey stuff and orchestral creations, then, it's going to be up your alley.
Very nice. That's going to do it for us, folks. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.